everyone, it is the author Stephanie E. Jensen here, and I am bringing you my review of Apple Books versus Kindle. Let's start with Kindle books. Like I said, I like reading Kindle books on my iPad because you get the larger image. I don't know, I feel like it's easier to read. I feel like there's a lot more clarity. And I just overall like the display of Kindle on the iPad better than on the iPhone. And I'll go over that more in the review, but specifically with the Apple Book section. But one thing I do want to discuss about Kindle that I like more, well, overall I think I'm just more familiar with Kindle. I'm more comfortable with the platform. Pretty much like I'm reading a book right now. This is Lucifer by Russell Holbrook. Awesome book, fun. It's about a cat that kills people, so very, very fun book. So you can, oops. Well, I wanted to show you, but I decided to, here. Come on. Okay. Then if you want to read another book, boom, you just hit this little down arrow in the corner. And yep, you have some of your books right here. You have other recommended books. Like Kindle, I like how Kindle not only organizes the books in your library very well, but they also recommend a lot of books to you. I feel like that's more of a Kindle feature than an Apple Books feature. It's a lot easier to find new authors and new books, and you can search specifically in your genre. They recommend books to you based on your past reading material, so I think this Kindle in general is a very, very great tool for all writers, but especially new writers. Another reason I like Kindle, well, here, let me go back. You next to this arrow, you have these little lines, and then this lets you scroll through the chapters. It's the table of contents. So this one, they're all different. Like here are just like you see the about the book, the cover, blah, blah, blah. Then you go down to the individual chapters. And what I like about that is, like, especially I have a lot of philosophy books, and that's not a book where I can personally read from cover to cover. So I prefer like going through the individual stories, or if you have like more of an anthology type of book you're reading, I definitely think that's like an easier way to kind of go through all the different stories you're reading. Choose the ones that you prefer over others. I don't have any Lovecraft books on Kindle, actually. I only have his books in paperback, but that would be a very good tool for paperback. And you can customize this in many ways, like you can customize the text size as well as the font. You just click the little A button on the top bar and all sorts of different, I mean, I won't go through all of them, but overall I definitely, not necessarily that Kindle is more user-friendly because, well, yeah, I will say generally, I do think Kindle is a lot more user-friendly than Apple. I guess I'm not saying Apple isn't user-friendly, but there are definitely qualities I like about Kindle in that aspect in comparison to Apple Books. And I think I mentioned this before, but I will definitely talk about this a little bit more, is that like Kindle has just a more diverse selection of authors. You can buy like the latest like New York Times bestselling author's book, as well as like the indie author who just is getting started with writing. And any other writers know that publishing a book on Amazon is actually pretty freaking easy. Once you get used to like the specifications regarding like, you know, page sizes and the different like the margins and stuff, and kind of how you have to construct your book and edit your book to their formatting, once you're over all of that, it is so easy. And that's why Kindle is such a great tool for authors, you know, trying to get discovered, because you have like Amazon is one of the most powerful search engines on the internet. I work in SEO writing full time, so and I've had to work for some e-commerce clients, so I know all about like Amazon SEO. advertising, blah, blah, blah. So right there, like Amazon has so many tools for authors, for marketing, and other ways to get your name out there. And, you know, like I mentioned, Amazon has a great way to discover new authors, to discover other books in, like, the genres that you typically enjoy. They recommend books to you, you know, like I showed you before, and I guess I'll just show you again. You just click the little down arrow. Come on. There you go. And then your library's up here, then more like your recent books here, and other random, it's kind of like a Netflix type of display, almost. That's what it reminds me of, at least. So, that's another reason why I've always really liked the Kindle books. And unlike Apple, because obviously Apple Books is only compatible with Apple devices, Kindle is compatible with all devices. And not only that, but you can get the Kindle app for your tablet, for your phone, and for your laptop. And when I tell people about ebooks, because the one thing I found amazing, especially just coming from an author myself, is that my ebook sales were good, but my paperback sales still top, like they're through the roofs. And talking to a lot of my, you know, readers who purchase my my paperback, and I asked them, like, why not purchase the ebook? It's cheaper. They said, well, I don't know how to read an ebook. I don't have like the Kindle device. I said, you have a phone, you have a computer, download the Kindle app. It is free. And then read your books on that. Like, I mean, like I said, I prefer an iPad, reading mine on an iPad, but you can also read it on, like I said, your laptop, your phone. I think my boyfriend reads his on his laptop? I don't remember, but I know he reads ebooks and he doesn't have an iPad or a tablet or anything. But anyway. So, yep, Kindle is compatible with all devices, all types of devices, so that is a big point in their favor as well. Moving on to Apple Books, and first I'm going to say why I read Apple Books on my phone. Now this goes back to kind of the display thing I was talking about, but I feel like Apple's display on the iPhone is a lot better than Kindle's. Let's see, I'm reading Joe Hill's NOS 482 right now, and yeah, the text is a little small, but, overall, like, it's one of those things that I've gotten used to it. I think you can also change the display to make, yeah, you can change the font size, you can also, because yeah, that's weird, I usually have the night theme, so I'm looking, and I'm like, why is this white? So I guess for whatever reason it just didn't change for me, but you can also choose the night theme or, you know, the standard, like, white page theme. You can increase the text size, you can change the text color, So I feel like there are more customizations in that regard that Apple offers in comparison to Kindle. So, and also I guess you can see it's just very user-friendly. Just swipe with your finger and, you know, just read like that. Just go through the pages like that. The interface between the both is very, very similar. I definitely feel like I definitely feel like Kindle's interface is a lot more user-friendly. I guess one of the other issues I have with Apple is that, at least for me, when I first started using it, it took me a while to get used to. Their interface is a little funky at first. Like, my big issue is accessing my library. But once you get past those little obstacles, it didn't really take me, because I was approaching Apple Books as if it was Kindle, and it's not. It's a different thing. Like I said, both have many similarities, but they also have a lot of differences. Here is the, I guess they do have some book recommendations, I guess. Oh, and also they have this nifty thing that, a reading time goal, you have a 5-minute reading time goal every day, which, well, in all honesty, I haven't been, reading for the past couple, well, I'm sorry, I've been reading my serial killer book. That's like a paperback book. But when I was just traveling recently, and yeah, I was like sucking up books on this thing just because I'm at the airport just like reading, like what else am I supposed to do? So I, cranked out books and all this fun stuff. But so yeah, so I guess this interface is pretty similar in this way to Kindle. You have your library right here, and then you scroll down, and then for you, and the reading time, blah blah blah. I definitely feel like Kindle gives you more recommendations, but it does look like Apple Books also has some good recommendations too. I think the biggest, by far, the number one thing I like the most about Apple Books is you can purchase your books in the actual app. Because all other readers who use Kindle know you cannot purchase your books in the Kindle app. You can't even purchase them in the Amazon app. You have to go to www.amazon.com, purchase your books, and then they're automatically downloaded in your library. Not the end of the world, but it's slightly more inconvenient compared to purchasing your book right here in the app and then boom, just reading it, like, in the same kind of millisecond, or however long it takes to purchase a book. Also, and now if you do have Apple devices and you haven't used Apple Books yet, you may or may not have noticed that the app is already on your device. The book I was reading is Blood Crazy by Simon Clark, and that one was not on Kindle for some reason, but it was on Apple Books, so I was like, okay, I'll just purchase it right here, and yep. And after that experience, I was like, I just need to use Apple Books more. Like, this thing is awesome. But, I definitely, so, like, okay, before I say anything, I honestly haven't put my books on Apple Books yet. That is going to change. Probably when my next books come out, I'll put Dissecting House on Apple Books. But, I know before reading reviews for authors, especially indie authors, that uploading on Apple Books was a little tedious. I think you needed like a specific, like you needed Safari or something like that, I don't know, but now I think you can upload your books on all devices. Like you don't need the Safari browser, you don't need a Mac, you don't need anything like that. So, but maybe a lot of writers don't really know about that, because I still most definitely find the vast majority of books I read are still on Kindle. So hopefully, more writers will also start uploading on Apple Books as well, because I definitely will. My final verdict. I like both overall. They both have their pros and cons. I definitely want to use Apple Books a lot more. I want to start experimenting with it. I want to get a little bit more used to it, because like I said, I love, like, I only carry this around when I travel. Because like I said, I don't really like reading, I don't like the Kindle iPhone app interface. I prefer the Apple Books app interface much more. So I don't really travel with this iPad ever, except when I travel, like I go on an airplane to go somewhere, not when I'm like, I don't know, going to the mall or running errands or whatever, and instead of wasting time on social media, which is what I would do before, I started reading books. I want to use Apple Books more. I love the in-app purchasing option. I feel like that is Apple Books' like biggest advantage over Kindle. Like I said, Kindle has a wider selection of authors. It has been the standard for indie authors to publish their books on Kindle. But hopefully in the future, more authors will also start expanding. We'll use Apple Books, and then we can kind of get Apple Books up to speed, in the same boat as Kindle. Thank you so much for checking out this video, And if you're looking for a book recommendation to read specifically on Kindle, you can always purchase Dissecting House. It is also available in paperback, as you can see. Keep in mind, I released this in a second edition. I am holding the first edition with my old author name. My new author name is Stephanie E. Jensen. I just haven't ordered author copies of the second edition yet for my book because I've just been lazy and don't feel like doing that, and I keep forgetting. So that's why I always show the old book to everybody. But yes, just go on to Amazon Books, search either Dissecting House, search Stephanie E. Jensen. I think if you search Dissecting House, that's the easiest way to find this. So thank you for checking out this video, and stay spooky, everyone.